new things on especially officials and seeing how they're working. It's not giving them quite a clear idea of how they're going to play. And I think the playstyle of Betis is more stable in that sense. So I think this first map should be easy for G2. I'm not so sure about the second one, though.
Really need to show that they have a good amount of maps under their belt that they can play. Ascent was one that I think we heavily criticized Heretics on yesterday. It was their map pick and they struggled to win out against BK Rock. By the way, you can check out all of the other channels playing games. We'll be checking out Fnatic, Liquid, all in play a little later on. But Vitality is the waiting opponent for both these sides. And frankly, as much as I like Vitality, I can see both these teams playing right now win that game, but they have to win this one first.
Yeah, exactly. Vitality is a strong team, but he has never played against these two teams, especially not the G2, not the new G2. But we see who wins this first, and then we'll decide. Oh, they'll decide.
They played a seeding match in stage 2, obviously, with the old G2 team.
Yeah.
It was a full best of 3, a great game for either side, and both teams knocked out by Fnatic in stage 2. We all know how well they did, so really a bit of a grudge match. And also, there's potential for G2 Fnatic to be playing later on in this tournament too, so the El Clasico of League could be happening in Valorant yet again.
Yeah, and not only that, even if they lose that one map, if they lose, well, that one match, they still have another chance because that's the close qualifier. We'll talk more about it later. Yeah,
double a limb. I can't wait. But right now, Batista's doing a pretty good job at holding back this G2 team. It's still a 3 versus 3. Aki is the only one on low health, doesn't have the heal, just used it on one of his teammates, but doesn't even really need to. He's gonna take these fights, takes out Xeon and Chris? Should have asked you about pronunciations beforehand for some of these players, but Navarro has it all to do.
Yeah, Navarro, Kirf, it's Kirf.
See, that's the one thing I can't do. I can't make that rolling noise.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty normal. Some sounds in English are pretty tricky for me as well. It was a pretty standard attack by G2, you know, using that Sage wall, breaking mid, taking control, winning B side, and then call them into planting the spy. Well, the rest of his team was... Let's talk about Nuki, because he's been playing great for this past 2 days on different roles. We've seen him even on Omen yesterday on Icebox. Let's see if we repeat that on the next map. That is gonna be Icebox. No, sorry, it's fine. If the third match happens, we'll see him on Icebox again, and he's been playing beautifully.
I've really enjoyed watching Mixwell's Viper as well. There have been a couple of instances. I think if you were to be really nitpicky and pick out a play for G2 that's been a bit awkward, probably has been Mixwell, kind of forgetting that he's on an agent like Viper and going out for key
duels. He's been playing 4
duels.
different agents, like give him a break, and coming from playing Jett, that's not easy.
It's going to take a while to get out of that habit, but they shut down this early aggression coming out of BTS pushing through onto mid. And it seems that G2, more than anything, they've got better guns here, but they are keen for a fight a lot of the time. We saw it in the last round with Nuki just holding that line to defend the spawn from B. This G2 team wants to get into Angels because they're more than likely going to just win them.
Yeah, and this round was pretty easy for them. They were probably waiting for some aggression as Betis was on that eco round. See what they do in this bonus. We see that Kellogg's has that Vandal. Still not a kill from him, but just 2 rounds. So see what they have prepared. Mixwell has been pretty decisive on that middle part of the map. See if they repeat the same or they have new things for us. Which I bet they do. Because Lucas Rojo came to talk to us yesterday after they beat Okam. And he was pretty positive and saying that they still have a lot of things to show. They haven't been showing us almost anything. So
frankly, they've not needed to show anything up until now.
See many changes. It's lovely.
That last round from Avova on Haven, probably one of the most fun and disrespectful clutches I've ever seen in my life.
Jesus.
Pansy lost the will to talk. She just kind of shouted a little bit. And she's seen a lot of great plays in her time. I'm thinking of the Forest play from Counter-Strike that she casted. But this one didn't have much to say because it was wild. Maybe we'll see a bit more of those kind of moves from G2. But Kellogg's has been a grace to watch. And he even plays off of the wallbang setup from Coldamenta.
Yeah, they're looking for pretty aggressive and fast play on this B side. Just looking for that close quarter with those SMGs. They take control of it. The spike is going to be planted now. It's going to be planted by Mixwell. BTS needs something beautiful for this retake. They need something special because it's going to be hard in a 4v3 situation, especially with all the positions that G2 has already.
That's a nice little setup play. I love that. The Sky Flash coming through, Avova even being able to push off of that. But Navarro has found a way in, trying to isolate these duels, but keloqz has been patient. Not your typical run-of-the-mill duelist that wants to constantly find fights. He's actually breaking them down bit by bit, and he clutches out nicely. Everything that you'll want from a young Jet player, he has it in spades.
Amazing. And I was saying yesterday during the G2 match that I really like Colamenta because he's like the Robin that every Batman would like to have. He's always so focused and using all his abilities to create space for you, to give you the info. And that micro that we saw from Mixwell with Avova, that really shows us the true potential in swapping roles and doing it beautifully and playing for your team, and the mindset being changed by the player. They get the bonus and another eco for Betis. You say
5
BTS,
assists.
and I know he's Betis.
Betis. It's fun to try and say things
Mucho
with
Betis.
the Spanish flick, I suppose you could call it. I'm just so used to butchering it. We said that yesterday with Zesht as well. But this G2 really not giving any room for Betis to come in and actually surprise. It's even more terrifying as well because I know a good portion of your audience is Spanish, so I feel like being judged for my pronunciation, but I'm at least trying.
No, you're doing fine. I mean, I know it's not easy, so don't worry. Another round that was, as you were saying, pretty easy for G2. Very electric, very fast onto this A site. It was, as I was saying, another eco round for BTS. They were trying to group up and maybe get a little more firepower combined together. It was just not enough, obviously, because keloqz just takes up all the space for his team.
The full buy is there. keloqz actually up in on the attack. How do we say the Jet's name here?
Kirth.
Kirth.
Nice.
I get because of the double R, I guess that's sort of like...
Kirth.
He's going to be watching. keloqz is actually going to get real close. This might be the shortest distance operator fight we're ever going to see. Kriv is going to be able to... It was a bit unnecessary, right?
Yeah. That's what I mean. I mean, it's surprising, but it's also very risky.
Rez is there at least to bring it back, but the Trailblazer is going to spot that information. Early now, Betis were only having a bit of pressure on Trey. The operator is still there, albeit on a bit more of a backwards angle.
Yeah.
Still forward facing.
Yeah.
It's still aggressive. A lot of action is happening in other parts of the map, and it's just these two operators keeping them at a standstill. And Nucky's about to fight a fight up on the sky even, and just absolutely dominates it.
Yeah, Teon didn't have the best of his luck there, and they don't have much info besides that meat part that we know right now, the Astra pushing, but the attack and the positioning on B, it's taken by G2 already, and I think it's time to save. It would be pretty smart to save, especially this operator. See if Navarro can do a little damage, but say priority number 1 is saving that operator for next round.
Got the Sage wall there as well. It means that you can't really go far. I think it's pretty much written in the stars for you to just hold on, keep that gun.
Yeah, Nuke is the kind of player that never gives you a break.
Quite rightly. I think one of the... If there was a HLTV list of top 20 players, I think Nucky would have been on it.
Yeah.
A bit of a late entry, I suppose, considering Heretics were just not a household name until they won First Strike.
Oh. We didn't even see. Maybe he didn't even need to scope. It was a really quick one. So let's see if Kiers can save this one.
Seeker's being used is... I like it, because it just means that Betis don't have any form of leverage. They have to give everything up, and you look at the health of the ultimates. The Resurrect was used in the last round. Mixwell's going to be able to farm up these Seekers like nobody's business, and everything else should be a nice rotation of ultimates. Betis have some on the cards, but they're forced to eco yet again, and they're just struggling to get into it. How much did you watch of the Heretics game yesterday? Because you weren't casting.
None.
And obviously...
No. I took the day to visit my sister. I just came at night and catch up on the last G2 game. Heretics was not lucky enough to be on that late.
It's an unfortunate one.
Yeah. Really is. Oh, they stacked on A. With this eco round, again, they haven't scored a single one. We've seen all the utility coming in on B lobby. So at least he gets the info. So they're going first. They didn't know exactly where to shoot. They had the info, they got one down. Here with this
the Eldron like just takes the attention. Just enough to make it an awkward fight.
Use a lot there though. Still waiting maybe for a push. See Kellogg's waiting on that flank that it's not coming. Nuki here with a boost anytime soon. Here it comes.
There's another guiding light available though for the Sky if they want to fight off, but Rivers just wanted to play on that angle, just gets mowed down from bullets through all of these smokes, and everybody from nobody could even really see a play from G2. Never mind get a kill. Absolutely smothered on that A site.
Yeah, it's just crazy. They waited. They had the info. They were waiting maybe for a kind of rotation. They say, let's get the ground ready for us. We wait for Nuki to get ready on that wall. We wait for Aboba to get his smoke, and just all together max firepower. And there's nothing to do against them.
It's clean. He's obviously have the chance to do a tactical timeout if things are going way too wrong. Another big buy coming up. The operator was a bit successful. He's going to be able to peek out, and yet again, Kellogg's has just sort of stood out in the open with his own operator in hand. G2 are not willing to let them try and regroup. They're going to try and continue to push, but even fully flashed, Vizion is able to just spray through, catch Mixwell, and the flasher on this team is gone. G2 in a 3 versus 4 disadvantage. They're going to try and reset and play more towards mid.
See, and then need to understand what's happening on mid. They don't have the information. They do have the smoke to prevent anything from attacking them, and they're definitely not wanting to go B, especially with that Killjoy setup. They're gonna get the info bit is here on short A. Also, the Seekers and the rotation might be coming. Yeah, exactly, right now. It's necessary.
Just finding out where these struggling members of G2 are, but the thing is, they're not isolated. Navarro was hoping to maybe catch one on their lonesome, but Coldamenta checks the corner. Obviously, as the Silver has plenty of utility to try and clear it with shocked at, so maybe that was part of the reason why it forced out a bit of an early engagement. Now, Bromas is going to try and keep an eye onto Rafters, checking that corner, but the Eldron is going to make him back up a little bit more. Now, with all stuck, isolated with that wall down, is going to protect Tree, and it's only those two early players that G2 lost before they turn it around in a 3 versus 5, I think, still managed to clinch out the round.
Yeah, they had two options once the Seekers came out. Either they did it fast and they took control of the point, while the other players were still rotating because they know there was still a defense set up on B. They actually took the right choice and just went pretty fast into the point, into side, and just planted the spike. And even in this situation, Aboba with that position and on Tree, he's just a great player, and it's scary to go against him and to, you know, take those duels against them.
G2 win this series. They have a bit of a safety net from here on out. We'll get to the closed qualifiers part, which will be taking part later today. Winner will be playing Vitality on this channel, so G2 versus Vitality might be another showing of that series. Vitality not in the bad form at all. Maybe not the best, but certainly decent. I
think it's going to be a great match whatsoever. And some people were confused because this is open qualifiers, and then on the same day, later today, we go into closed qualifiers. So both matches are going to be today. I saw some people on chat asking and say there was only one match today. No. Double round for all of us.
It basically works out. The winner of this plays Vitality. The winner of that plays the bracket that Fnatic are a part of, which includes Saw and Ivy, who are playing right now on twitch.tv/MitchManCasting. We may be able to get to see a little second place Fnatic, at least catch the VOD a bit later on. But G2 versus Fnatic, it's a possibility, and considering the form we're seeing from G2 at least, it's looking very likely.
Yeah, and they were waiting for something different after this timeout that Betty's wanted for themselves. The aggression and the micro with the pretty standard with that Sage wall. Jesus. It's
Mixwell's
impossible.
utility has been so on point.
He's playing so much for the team. It's crazy to see him play like this, because it really shows you that he's a great player whatsoever, even if he was playing, you know, for himself when you play Jet. Now with this 4 different agents. Pretty easy round for them as well. And this is a problem because it's not only an 8-0. This is, and we have to remind people that this is a map that G2 picked. They're still playing on attack. And this should be the weak side of Ascent. Apparently not for this G2.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at this team and the agents that they're playing, is there a weak side? Is there a weak link? We sort of mentioned, Mixwell a couple of times on Icebox was caught out lurking in mid, and he was on Viper, so you lose all of the smokes and utility. That's a bit of a problem. He's 14-3. On an agent, I personally think is one of the harder ones to nail down in team play. There's been a lot of subpar Sky play from even some of the world-class players in this ton. Mixwell takes to it instantly, because of course.
And it's only now you can use that pop flash with Sky. Really works out for him. Coldamenta taking out this information for sure. A doesn't spot any of them. Still, let's see what they decide. This is a critical round for Betis. They definitely need this one, and they would need the 4 left. See if he's not been playing bad with the he didn't check up timing. Not good for him. I was saying, Kid was doing good on the operator, it's just not enough. Jeez.
Usually when you're 8-0 down as well, some of these mistakes are going to go through. And Nuki playing almost through the Hunter's Fury, finding gaps. And really, it's no more than 2 players that G2 are losing at this point. They're 9-0 up and they're doing it so decisively. There's not much analysis you can make. Coldamenta is 4-1. He's just 10 assists, though, is pretty massive. Some players don't even finish with that in a full overtime game on the likes of Silver. He's spot on fragged, but he's so impactful. And unfortunately, Zeon 0-9 feels unfortunate to make note of it, but really hasn't been Batista's day.
Yeah, and Coldamenta is a really hard-working guy. That lineup that we saw with the Sage slow and his ultimate, that was all. We were talking about it as well yesterday. We were asking Lucas, like, it's great how Nuki has all those lineups and those walls with Sage. He said, no, it's Coldamenta. He brings so much to the team. He's always studying, always bringing in new lineups, new setups, and it's just crazy.
It's the team captain and IGL that it feels that G2 have been wishing for. I think one of the common complaints very early on for G2 is who's IGLing, who's the captain, who's meant to be doing the calls. Never really seemed to be a problem back then, but kind of came one start of this year for the first 2 stages. Everything seems to be locked into place. And Elysion gets off the board with a kill, so it's not going to be a totally difficult game for him. And there has been buys and moments for Batiste. They have an operator yet again in the hands of Chris. Whether he actually is able to get much, because G2 have been able to punish him on these side flanks and angles and instantly smoked off.
Yeah, they're trying to seek that value that they've been getting in some rounds, but it just seems like it's not enough because G2 is always there to get a refrag, to get the res, to get Kellogg's back in place. And it's just really hard the way they're controlling the map and the way they're executing on sides.
It's kind of weird. Kellogg's trying to be the tip of the spear whilst with the operator in hand. Going to be able to see it through. And Nuki is actually the first to go down. Zeon doubles his kill count, but it's a key one. And now Batiste with the operator on this corner. Kellogg's doesn't like to use that dash until he needs to, and unfortunately it's going to meet too much now. 3 versus 3 now. Now operator and Bladestorm now coming in on Batiste's Jet side. More of a reset as Mixwell's found a bit of a gap, an opening somewhere that he can sneak through and catch a rotation. Killjoy's going to peek him, but the Killjoy wins the battle. Brizion has that lockdown, is 10 HP. Navova is just going to try and bullet it through to this B site. Pumping might be head for the Killjoy at this point. Has the Shrouded Steps to try and get off of the site, but it's going to be an awkward one. Brizion smoked off, going to check it and peek it. This would be a big mistake having a lockdown and getting caught out on this angle. The peek comes through, it's isolated. Avova should not be winning this clutch, and he doesn't, luckily. Cruz was there to get the first round on the board for Batiste, but it still could have gone awkwardly. I think a bit of a misplay from the Killjoy, but I mean, you've got one more round left. You might be able to make it 2. Avova almost made it a super close clutch. Another unbelievable one from him like we saw yesterday. It was a good round overall for them as we go into the last round of this half.
Yeah, and let's see if they can get this this last one. They definitely need it. Although I think it's too late, especially thinking of that pistol at the beginning of the next half. Seems like it's going to be pretty explosive on B, and I don't think Betis is going to be ready for this last one.
A few ultimates for Batista to work with. More so than G2, the Bladestorm is going to be used instantly from Kellogg's. He has enough money to buy another operator and a few more, considering the 10 rounds in a row that G2 have been able to accumulate. Bromas recon that is going to catch Kellogg's as he's breaking his way into sight, but that's key information that Kellogg's could work with. The lockdown being used from the defender side, and Kellogg's has to try and now break it. Bit of an awkward thing, but I guess if you're going down with a ship, you might as well try and plant the lockdown to see if something can happen there. And now the Santa's Fury is more to try and stall and reset everything. And Cruz could have caught the spike there, most importantly, but he loses out that duel onto Mixwell. Betis have a weird chokehold on this B side.
Yeah, and they were Kellogg's was waiting for Aboba and his TP, and they were probably not thinking that Mixwell was left out, and he had the spike on him. It doesn't really matter because they just took full position in, and they just have to wait for Betis to come in and try to defend something that seemed pretty lost and hard for them. And let's see this pistol round because it's compulsory for Betis, but even with that, it's going to be a pretty hard attack for them.
1-11. Betis, I think, have personally done well to get this far. I think a win over London United is a solid one. And like you said to me beforehand, like, yeah, you sort of said that they're second in Spain.
Yeah, I would say they're top 2 in Spain, probably. So it's not a bad team at all. They're just not seeing a way to today.
They had another qualifier where you've got maybe Wave in there, you've got Malik and Big. See Betis maybe having an easier or better time with them, but G2, especially this G2, is out for blood. Not only are they playing incredibly well, they're leaving nothing up to chance. There's no gaps in their play. Unless you're looking at Nuki there that just gets completely run over, tries to put up the wall to slow things down, but the pistols break it just before the wall is augmented, solidifies after a couple of seconds for its full HP. So the Sage is going to be out of the round at this point. The G2's mid-rounds and resets have been able to clutch out with a man disadvantage. That's been perfect. Let's see if that continues.
Yeah, and rotation towards B side now from Betis. They got the information though, so they move in. G2 are moving into backside. Thanks to Colamento's recon, they saw them on mid, so they probably expect this.
They certainly made noise towards B. Mixwell and Avova might be able to pinch in from market. Kellogg's Colamento holding in on the back of the boathouse. They both get a kill, but they both go down in the process. And now we're 2 versus 3 for G2. Avova a bit late to the party. Mixwell isn't afraid to actually try and go in for a fight alone. But Bromas is going to win that, gets the information, gets the frag. Avova taking in the fights from 2 different positions. It's a nice bait, I suppose, for Prisión to keep that tension towards B main, but Bromas is there to clear up to get a third.
Yeah, and maybe Mixwell should have waited for his teammate. He maybe wanted to be somewhat surprising, especially with that flash. But Bromas with a nice timing, he was expecting him. When Aboba gets to the point, he didn't have enough info. He got the first one, but the other players from BTS just came to the rescue, and that refrag gave them the round. 2-11. They're going to play against this Eco. As we say in Spanish, it's a pocket round more like because of this Sheriffs.
Pocket round, I like it.
Yeah, we call it pocket round. In Spanish, sounds cooler. We also call it pocket round in English, but
you say that, but I don't know if this is a common thing that a lot of people do. Twitch chats can tell me. We call a Sheriff Eco when we play a Shiko.
A Shiko.
Yeah. But I haven't heard that in a broadcast anytime.
It's because you're missing out the best broadcast.
Yeah. Maybe I need to start learning Spanish at this point. Get the Duolingo app installed yet again as Bromas again finds onto Kellogg's with only a ghost, so it's a neutral duel for the fact that it's the better gun is actually in the hands for Kellogg's in that fight. But here's the SMGs coming out to play. B site all but left open. It's 3 G2 players with Sheriff still around.
Yeah.
They're well off of this site.
And see, I don't know if Nuki has his heal or they can use on Mixwell. I haven't know. He doesn't have it. Still can take something out of this round. even if it's some exit frags. See, we see the ping in. It's time to come in. But yeah, I think BTS is also thinking of the fact that they don't have a sentinel taking care of B side, so that makes it easier for them to attack. They don't have that Cypher that Mixwell was playing on the other day. They do have Sage, but you know, Sage is kind of like a hybrid. He's not really a sentinel per se. I wouldn't say so.
Yeah, not really. The terminology is a bit wonky when it comes to Sage in that particular category for Riot.
Yeah,
I do think it's very easy as well for for BTS to know where Nuki's playing from, because that utility is used quickly.
Yeah, we saw him using it to slow them not only with the slows, but also with the wall. They're gonna try and be pretty explosive because, as I was saying, they don't have pretty much to stop them. G2 does have those tier 1 weapons right now. Those rifles. Let's see if it's enough. Oof.
Mixwell got out of there as fast as he could. Xeon actually a bit of fake information. Flashes out. It doesn't chime that there's an enemy nearby. And in fact, there's 3. All of these like anti-flash positions. You got Killups keeping an eye on mid in case there's going to be a late lurk. Guns are in the better hands of G2 now. They have the full buy. Bonus round for Batiste. Nuki's actually going to wall off in corner and finds the duel. Might have had players line up at this point. It's a nice recon dart that's able to get some information onto where these players are. And Coldamenta with the Ares. We saw this, a great chance in the first day. And that solid streak with that gun continues. Now up to Bromas. They can at least afford still, but it does put G2 onto match point. And it's been a dominant showing on their map pick so far.
Yeah, exactly. This bonus round was not good enough for a bit. These G2 pretty smart. Instead of looking for those duels, they knew the short range would pretty much work for BTS. They were just waiting for all the team to be there. And Coldamenta again, if it's not the Ares, it's gonna be the Odin, and he's gonna be crazy on this Ascent defend. It's just,
he's probably one of the most underrated players in Europe, I think.
Not in Spain.
I guess so.
Yeah. I just give you a background of where I come from.
I've heard a lot of stuff of how hardworking he is, but certainly towards the West and even some like analysis from NA people. You see Nuki, you see Avova, Coldamenta was like, but you look at Ascend, how well they've done. Maybe the IGL in a bit of a question mark about that for Ascend in stage 2. It wasn't working out that good for Ascend, but they look really good as well. So maybe G2 versus Ascend be an interesting match that we might see in the main event starting next week. Is able to try and get some damage in for the top of Rafters. It's a very close hold. Look at where the spike is planted. The Eldron is going to get some information, but the Hunter's Fury used on the attack takes out Coldamenta just as he was coming back from using that utility, but he's holding on.
Yeah, Mixwell took a step in, and maybe not waiting for the rest of the team, is that they're going on the point right now, and one by one with all those smokes falling in. It just coasted here.
That was exactly what you want to see.
It's just so good. It's just so nice watching it.
And that is a 13-3 win, and G2 on their map pick one step closer to getting into the closed qualifier.